everybody, and welcome to Film Freaks, movies that we love.
Film Freaks!
And I got a movie that I love that I don't know that Mr. Moody loved, and it is the classic wackadoodle.
Classic is not the word.
Classic wackadoodle, over the
Wackadoodle,
top,
yes.
subversive wicked
yes.
film.
Wicked, definitely.
From Todd Solondz called Happiness, 1998.
Also a word I wouldn't use.
So much happiness in this film.
No. It's the irony of the word happiness.
Everybody is so incredibly miserable.
I do like that at the end they say, to happiness.
Yeah, I mean, they're all searching for happiness, like all of us. We're all looking for it.
I almost feel like they should, I mean, I guess happiness is fine, but, I mean, called it searching for happiness, because, like, really that is the core of the movie is the idea that we're all
searching. It's just that we all have very, very different ideas of what happiness consists of. And we don't even know sometimes until we get it. And then when we get it, we don't even like it. We don't even want it. Because it's something that just keeps shifting and changing. And even when you think you've got it, you don't.
Really haven't.
Yeah.
Really
it's like Laura Flynn Boyle's character. I mean, some of these characters think they've already attained happiness, but it turns out they don't.
Well, and also the wife of Dylan Baker, she
thinks she has it all.
She thinks she has it all, but then she realizes how much she actually has a terrible husband, and she doesn't even know that side. And like, I mean, I think that's the interesting thing of like, when we think we're happy and everything, we probably aren't as happy
in the moment. It's really only in the moment. It's not long-term happiness is something that you have to continuously seek, and you're lucky if you find even that moment. Eat the cookie, because it's as much happiness as you're going to get. So you might as well eat it and experience
one woman,
it.
She was happy eating all that fucking ice cream and pecan pies and all that stuff.
The two things that I love about this movie is the script is one of the most subversive black comedic scripts I've ever seen in my life, and Todd Solondz is a master at crafting these awkward, uncomfortable, cringy scenes where not only the characters are experiencing awkward this shit, we are by watching it and experiencing it.
I feel like Welcome to the Dollhouse
×10
was like the movie that he goes, okay, I can do it, but then
hold my beer.
Yeah, that's an exact expression. Hold my beer, because this is going to amp up.
Oh yeah,
and do the shit that I couldn't do in my first film, because my first film was, that sort of.
And I love Welcome to the Dollhouse. It's a great movie, but it kind of goes up to here. It pushes the line a little bit, but it goes here. Happiness through the roof, man.
But see, here's my question, though. I mean, when you have to write a character like that, or whatever, I mean, especially one that or characters you have to identify with or connect with in some way when you're writing, it's kind of creepy to think that the writer is writing something that he's hopefully not.
Well, there was a thing on Internet Movie Database where he talks about some of the characters that he based some of these characters on. Like, there's one guy who was a notorious Republican politician who turned out to be a fucking perverted person. Yeah. And he was, but you didn't know that because he was doing everything. Like, he was a part of the Christian Coalition, and he was doing all this other anti shit, and it turned out he was one of them all along. And there was these other, so he's got all these people that he's basing this stuff on. And that's the second thing that I love about this film. The ensemble cast is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So we've got Philip Seymour Hoffman, right? We got Jane Addams. We've got John Lovitz.
Yeah.
We've got Laura Flynn Boyle. We've got Louise Lasser, Dylan Baker. Who else we got in there?
There's a lot of people. I mean,
Ben Gazzara is in there. Patricia Richardson's is in there.
That's who I was.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was trying to remember.
Just the cast is loaded. And
Patricia Richardson was the mother.
The mother, yeah.
Of the two kids or whatever, right?
Right.
She wasn't. I think she was if I'm correct, she was the mom in Home Improvement.
And she was in Player.
In the Player, okay, good. So, wow.
She's great. She's been in a ton of stuff.
I like because Home Improvement was such an ABC, like such a like family comedy kind of thing, and then this is not a family comedy.
And you can tell. I mean, I could tell. These actors loved these roles. I mean, nobody who gets into acting doesn't want a chance at something like this, where they get to play these kinds of characters.
I'm sorry, though. I mean, it would be really tough for
me. It's risk. It's a huge risk.
I know. It would make me feel very uncomfortable.
Imagine Dylan Baker having to play that role.
But he was also one of those actors that really, really did like to take risks and do things. He was in I think he was like Magnolia, and he was definitely in. He had such a great role in Boogie Nights. I believe if I'm correct, he was the husband of the woman who just kept getting fucked by in the porn scenes or whatever, and he kept getting mad at her or whatever, like get out, which is so funny because like Todd Solondz and I guess Paul Thomas Anderson worked with a lot of the same people, because these are the people who at that time Philip Seymour Hoffman and Dylan Baker, all of them were actually doing stuff that were very risky. I mean, there were regular movies like Philip Seymour Hoffman did Almost Famous, which is a regular movie, and I love that movie. But this is a movie that takes risks and does actually do something like goes beyond what you expect.
The thing is, any movie could have been done around one of these characters, just one. Every single character has some weird, fucked up, strange, wackadoodle kink that gets explored.
Different perspectives and different stories. It's almost anthology-like Pulp Fiction, where all the stories kind of collide together
and converge, and it's all centered around this one family in New Jersey.
So you don't know that in the beginning.
I'm dying to know what Kevin Smith thought about this. He's seen it. He's probably loved it. Yeah. He probably loves it.
I don't know if he loves it or whatever, but I know she's seen it probably. I don't know. I wouldn't know if he loved it or not. I think it's definitely a tough movie to watch.
It is subversive. It will take the standard, Hollywood sort of tropes about suburbia and just completely twists it and perverts it and turns it inside out and upside down and just kind of shows you the rotten underbelly of what people kind of look like on the outside but are really, percolating on the inside. And everybody's got these weird hidden desires that they want, and then when they actually get them, they don't want them anymore because it's better to think of them as a fantasy, and to actually bring them into reality is going to completely ruin everything or get you thrown in jail. Or get, how many other people end up, maybe even Cameron Manheim, who has this one little role and she just dominates that one part of the film. Is she the big girl? Yeah. Okay. And then she ends up going to jail because her character ends up killing a guy and then chopping him up in little bits. And
I liked her a lot.
They were all great.
Yeah, I liked her a lot, but I mean, then you find out, because she's been talking about, did you hear that our doorman died? Blah, 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 blah. And then you find out that she was the one who killed him and has him,
And she was using that to manipulate Philip Seymour Hoffman into feeling bad for her because they're all twisted. They're all crazy.
Well, I love at the end, like the people are talking about it, and she says, the one girl goes, I think it was Laura Flynn Boyle's, like, and she had baggies that she zipped everything up, which I think we can all relate to. And I'm like...
We all use baggies.
We all use baggies, but I'm sorry, I don't use baggies to like put in an arm or a leg or.
Funny at that scene too, where poor Jane Addams, she's just like a serial loser. She's just everyone she picks and everything she does is just a failure. And she goes, "Oh, well, maybe you could write a poem about it." And Laura Flynn Boyle just laughs. She says, "I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you."
I mean, all that relationship right there is almost its own story.
I know.
Its own thing. Because it wasn't Laura Flynn Boyle, but it was the other one. It's Patricia Richardson's character who is talking to the to Jane Addams, and she's like, I don't know if I should tell you this, but you're a loser, and we've always known you're a loser.
Oh God!
You're never gonna amount to anything, but
you're always gonna be alone.
But now you look like you're actually might have some hope, a glimmer of hope.
A glimmer of hope.
Oh God! I was just like, and the whole time she's like, "Thank you."
So many horrible, cringy, awkward scenes.
Well, let's begin it. So, like, in the beginning.
The very beginning.
First
sets the
scene,
tone.
And it's a close-up of, back and forth of two people. And it's really weird, like, the way they angled it, the way they shot it. Like, I don't know if it might be the DVD that we watched, but it felt way too close.
I think they did that on purpose.
Okay.
It's to put you in their face and make you wallow in their uncomfortableness.
Well, it made me uncomfortable. But,
oh yeah.
So you watch this scene and like they're talking, and she had just, I guess, before the conversation started, she had broke up with him, or at least said she didn't want to continue dating him or going out with him or whatever, before it got too serious.
Which is brilliant, because you generally see that. You don't see the aftermath.
Right.
Yeah,
so you saw that, and he's crying, and then he decides to give her a present. And he gives her, like, this ashtray that he bought online, I guess, or somewhere, because he was sent off for it. So I'm like, I guess magazines? Because this is, like, 2000, right? Or 2001?
1998.
1998, even pre, like, really internet Amazon or anything.
Yeah.
You know? So he bought this thing, and, and she's so happy to have it. She's like, oh, my God, this is the nicest. And he's like, this is not for you. Takes it back. He's like, this is for the girl that loved me. Fuck you.
The scene turns like that.
Yep.
Oh, my God, that was brilliant. And then you're just... it's awkward as hell for him, and all of a sudden it's awkward as hell for her, and we as the audience have to experience both. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And that's when I saw that in the theater, when that scene hit, I knew. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to love this movie.
And John Lovitz was so great. And then later, he kills himself because of her.
Because of course he does.
He writes a note blaming her for his death and everything, and stuff like that. And it gets back to her mom, to his mom. And later, she's at her job, and she starts bringing it up, and she wants to tell him that he's dead.
She wants to tell her friends. Her friends can't even remember the guy because he's such a nameless schlub. One
of the friends is Molly Shannon, who I had a feeling I remembered her being in this. This is like around the time she was hot on SNL, I believe. Like, this is like Molly Shannon SNL days.
The cast is loaded.
Yeah. And so she's just laughing, and they're all like, oh, who is this guy? Blah, 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 blah. And then she gets a call. She answers the call, and it's the mother. And the mother's like, fuck you for killing my son. I hope you fucking rot in hell. And hangs up.
And that's just typical of this shit that poor Jane Addams' character goes through. She gets vegetables thrown at her. This guy freaking steals her shit.
She quits her job because she feels uncomfortable being there, I guess. She quits her job, goes to work as a teacher because she wants to do good. Which her sisters are both like, why are you... she's already good. She doesn't have to do good.
Right.
I'm like... why can't she do good? Like, these people are just these, like, rich, sort of bratty, sort of entitled douchebags. And
yes.
You really don't like them. But then, like, I don't know. There's a sort of a part of me that's just like, you know what? I mean, I understand this. Like, I get why these people are like this.
Sure.
And whatever, but... It was weird.
And there are just levels of cringe with other stuff that goes, you're not going to see in any other film. You couldn't make this film today. You just couldn't do it. All the pedophile stuff by itself would preclude that. And like I was saying, to even attempt to make even a tiny bit of a sympathetic character out of somebody who has these problems with children.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh my God!
You kept saying sympathetic. I did not sympathize with this guy.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's what they're trying to do. I mean, he's not like this twisted evil person.
If you're trying to make me sympathize with it, they failed at that, because I the whole time I wanted to punch Dylan Baker in the face. Not saying he didn't do a good job playing that part. I just did not feel any sympathy for him. The first scene you notice that he has a feeling for it. He goes into buys a magazine that has kids in it. He goes in the back of his car. Magazine. He goes in the back of his car and he jerks off to it. No, I don't think they were teen. They were like 11-year-old kids because that's
it was like Cool magazine, Cool with a K, or some other goofy fucking thing that they.
And he gave me this really creepy thing of like he only liked kids that were 11 because there was at one point the kid was asking him, when am I gonna be old enough to be by myself? And he said, when I'm 12, and he goes, no. He goes, when I'm 13, and he goes, okay, maybe then. I'm like, wait, is that your age that you stop having like feelings, like sexual feelings for kids? And that's what I got from that. And I was like, that is just creepy. Like the underlying feelings and underlying shit they have.
There's all kinds of creepy shit. However, they do allow the character to express regret, to express remorse, to explain that he cannot help himself. And
you can help yourself. Are you kidding me?
Look, it's not my bag. I don't know anything about it, but
I'm sorry.
Psychologically, there are things, that happen with that, and other people too. People have weird psychological problems that they have to go through. Is it bad what he does? Of course, it's horrible. It's like the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they're like serial killers or anything like that. So
I mean,
he gets the chance to at least present himself as a three-dimensional character, which is not something you generally see when it comes to people who have that predilection, is what I'm saying. You generally don't see that.
No, and there's a reason. Because
it's a taboo subject.
No,
that's
because
why.
It's not cool.
Right, it's a taboo subject.
Because we're not in this, especially today. Today. Like, this movie would never be made. Like, absolutely. Because the idea
makes me want to show it to everyone even more.
No.
Yes. Fuck cancel culture.
Well, no. Like, cancel culture does suck at times. Especially if people don't deserve to be canceled get canceled. People who deserve to be canceled, that's a different subject altogether. Here's the thing. Like, I've been trying to like mess around in my head about it because it does give you that.
It's tough, man. It is a rough movie that makes you think.
It makes me think gross like feelings like that. It's just like this like I told you I want to take 37 showers like you always say.
Yeah.
Like that it's so gross. It just want to wash all of this fucking disgust off me and stuff. And that's because, and you know what, look, we're going to be doing this eventually when we can get Kate up here. We're going to be doing an extreme horror thing, Is this well, I guess it's extreme movie.
The difference is that in those films, in the extreme things, the ones that really push the envelope, usually you are seeing things. You're seeing gore, you're seeing violence, you're seeing
rape.
You're seeing, literally seeing all of that stuff. In this film, you don't see it, but you don't have to.
You hear it.
Trust me.
You hear people talk about it.
The dialogue is so powerful that it paints everything you could ever possibly want to or not want about these subjects, and it's bad enough. Trust me.
Oh.
You don't want to go there. And Todd Solondz is very wise in that he does, films it in the way that he filmed it, because that would be crossing the line. That would be definitely crossing the line. But like I said, the fact that he's presented in at least a somewhat sympathetic nature is thing. Second thing is, he doesn't get away with it. Okay, what he's doing is not only horrific, but he's also fucking stupid, because like I said, what does he think is going to happen? That he's going to be able to get away with it? No. He ends up getting caught. And we don't see that part, but we see the aftermath of that part.
There's only a few people I felt sympathy for, or in some way or another. And that one of them was Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, because he's such a loser. He's such a weird.
He calls up women randomly and says, "I want to fuck you and come until it comes out of your mouth." How do you feel sympathy for that?
No, because once again, you talked about it before. It's his fantasy of like this is what I want to say to these people. This is what I want to act. This is what I want to do. then when it comes down to the reality of it, he can't do anything because he's so shy.
They're all like that. You know, Trisha thinks her fantasy is to have this perfect marriage and kids in the house and all that. Well, reality check, that's not what happens. Joy thinks she's gonna, you know, go out and help people and help like these poor immigrants learn English, and they call her scab and they throw shit at her, and the one Russian chick guy basically completely takes advantage of her and ends up taking her money. She doesn't have.
Yeah. She's so dumb. He says, she goes, "What were you in Russia?" He goes, "It was thief." You know, and then she allows him to stay in the house. And, I mean, of course,
bad decisions.
She has sex with him, but you know, and then he says the exact same thing I thought he was going to say, which was after he was done, he goes, "I go now.
I go now.
I go now." And it's, you know, common.
Laura Flynn Boyle thinks she's got it all because she's this important editor person. She's got all these guys, you know, falling all over her and think that she's wonderful, but she thinks she's shit because, you know, she just doesn't think that she's real. So when the opportunity comes that this guy out of nowhere shows up and calls her a slut and I'm going to blah, 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 and she thinks that's going to be a fantasy come true. No, that doesn't happen.
Well, she thinks, because she talked about it before, she even said to herself, "I've never been raped as a child. I wish somebody had raped me as a child." I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
Oh my God, that was amazing.
I mean, I was like...
So I could have perspective. So I could be true.
I mean, that just creeped me the fuck out. And then, and you know what? I mean, Todd Solondz, I give you credit because, like, whatever, that worked. But
even Cameron May, I mean, she's set up to be another one of these losers, and you feel sorry for her, and then it turns out she's a fucking murderer who's been manipulating Philip Seymour Hoffman the whole time, and you know has her own parcel of fucking weird shit going on.
By the way, this movie's like 2 hours and 19 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
We did not even...
Amazing.
You didn't realize it was that long.
I forgot. It's been a long time since I'd seen it.
Yeah.
You know, the Johnny Grasso, the victim, clearly has some level of participation in everything that happens as well. Right. It's just, you know, nothing is as it appears to be, and it's...
And the only reason we didn't stop is because we realized it was in 2 hours and 19 minutes after we'd already watched an hour of it. So if we had put on another movie, that would have been an hour and a half. No. It would have been the same amount anyway. So we're just like,
plus it's like pulling a tooth. You know, we've started. We may as well finish it. Get it out of the way. You don't have to worry about seeing it again.
I'm not going to. Like, I swear.
People
are like, I'll make you watch this.
It's about 10 years since I've seen it. And really, this is not the kind of movie I watch by myself.
I hope not. Like,
no.
I literally hope this is not something.
But showing someone like him who's never seen it before and has no idea. Oh yeah, that's all fun.
I know what I've seen. Welcome to the Dollhouse. I love that movie. If you had picked that, because you were like, the first time you're like, I know you might have seen this movie, but...
You know me, I'm not the kind of person that lets people go into the shallow pool first. I usually push them right in the deep end.
Yeah, you were like, well, I think you might have seen this movie, but...
I thought you did.
And I tried, and I got to probably... the beginning of the movie probably bored me enough, which thank God.
Oh, God, I can't imagine.
You know, yeah. I get...
Being upset by it, I can understand.
My biggest problem with movies like this and stuff like that is when it's being awkward at times, it goes on too long for the awkwardness, because that's what it's supposed to do, push you to the awkwardness. But the problem is, after a while, I get bored. I'm like, come on, let's move the story along a little bit.
Were you bored in this?
No.
I was going to say.
No, not this time.
Not this time.
I think, but before, watching it by myself, when I was like, wait, she's breaking up with him, and like, you know, he's crying.
And the thing is like, you know, the same time that you're going, I'm also going, because...
Thank God.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If you weren't going, I would have been like,
I mean, how could you not? I mean, come on.
I'd be a little worried about you.
The subject matter is just so difficult. I mean,
it's an extremely uncomfortable movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it, like you said, like, that was the point of the movie. It was not made...
It's happiness.
It was not made to make you this was not made to turn you on.
Yeah,
There are some things that just
this is
like lots of cringe.
Politically, this is a very subversive film. It's kind of like, setting yourself up saying the American dream is to be in suburbia and to live this wonderful, wonderful life. And it turns out it's all a bunch of shit and everybody is just filthy and disgusting and gross. And here's all the stuff that happens behind it.
But like it's everywhere. I mean, all the characters, period, no matter what.
Right.
All of them are despicable in some way, pretty much. I mean, even the doorman, who seemed nice at first, brought all her stuff up. Yeah. I mean, if he had just left, he would have been fine.
And the mother and the father is now pretty much dead inside. He doesn't love anyone. He doesn't want to be around anyone. Wants to be alone. Father, yeah. Ben Gazzara. And Louise Lasser can't understand it. She's very, very codependent. She's taking Valiums. She wants to know what's going on. This fucker, why is he doing all this?
I remember Louise Lasser from, there's a... what's his name? Sam Raimi directed his second movie. It was called Crime Wave, and Louise Lasser was in that.
Okay.
And so
she's very good.
I was like, I know that chick. I know that old lady from somewhere, but I don't know where. She was great. She was fantastic. I mean, she was on the phone with her daughter, and she said, my husband or your father wants to get a divorce, and she's like, what? And he's like, let him tell you this, and he's like, I never said the word divorce, which I'm like, okay, so you guys just want to just separate and then never, and then at the end they're sort of all back together
kind of,
again.
Sort of, maybe. And the one thing the doctor's like, yeah, you're healthy as a horse, you'll be fine, you'll live to 100, just go easy on the salt. So what's he doing? He's like loading up salt all over his plate because he can't wait to check out. He's had it. He's done.
He's done with life. He's done with everything. He has sex with some woman, and then she's like, she's like, aren't you like feeling anything?
And she has a stroke later.
Yeah, apparently she had a stroke, but he goes, she'll live, basically, or whatever. And like the whole time,
and then he's like, I don't feel anything.
Yeah, he doesn't feel anything, and like I mean, I sort of get that. I understand, like, when you get to a certain age and you just lose the joy, which is his daughter's name. But, like, you lose that, like, love for life, and everything and whatnot. And I think a lot of these characters kind of have done that, too.
There are some scenes that are some of the most cringeworthy things I have ever seen in my entire life. The one scene especially towards the end, after the big filthy secret has come out and the poor kid goes over to his dad and he's asking him, is this true? Did you really do this? What did you do? Why did you do it? And he's actually honestly telling him what's going on. And it's
the worst part
so
is
much
like,
more pain.
Would you ever do that with me?
Would you fuck me? And he's like, no.
That's something I don't want to know.
I still don't want to know. I don't want to
know any of these answers to any of these questions. I don't want to be here watching this. Like, please, if I could forget this movie ever existed.
It was like taking a pin and sticking it under your fingernail. It was so hard. It was so tough. But you don't see that. I mean, that is a genius scene. Whether it's a filthy, disgusting, horrible subject matter, sure. But the way it was written, the way it was acted was just amazing. And wow, can you imagine being an actor and having to have to do that scene?
Sorry.
Can you imagine?
I'd say nope. Nope.
Holy shit.
I would not do it. I don't feel comfortable like pretending to, like Dylan Baker, good job. You did it, you did a great job, but
the kid was fabulous. I don't remember who the actor was, but we need to look him up and find out what else he's done, because
he's probably not done anything out of this movie, because this movie probably.
But what a talent though. I mean, my God, how I can't think of anything more uncomfortable that you'd have to experience in a scene. I mean, other than physically going through it.
And we forgot to also mention that. So when we start out, sort of, we see that what's his name? Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, I forgot his name, but he's Alan. He's talking to Dylan Baker, because Dylan Baker is his therapist, and he's giving him his information about him. He's so bored, he's just thinking about the grocery list of things to do and stuff like that. And then later you see Dylan Baker has a therapist as well, because the therapist has a therapist.
Of course they do.
And he's talking about a dream he had where he went to a field and started shooting everybody.
Yeah.
And it's literally shows. That's one of the like most of the time it doesn't show anything of things. It just talks,
It's another thing they can't do today.
Which it literally showed him going to the park and just unloading shots and shots on people. And Law and Order has had scenes where they show the aftermath of it, but they never show the...
And he's like standing there holding the gun, and then there's one person sitting there sobbing his heart out because his loved one is like butchered or killed right in front of him, and he's just like standing there, and he says, well, this time I didn't shoot myself.
Yeah.
So already this guy is fucked up in the head.
Right.
In a major, major way.
But he's not telling, as far as we know, he's not giving insights into the fact that he wants to molest little boys.
No.
And so you never find that. I mean, he was not honest about that. He's honest about like the dreams that he had were killing people.
Guess one fucked up problem at a time.
Maybe he does. Maybe he does. I don't know. I would imagine no. I imagine he kept that secret. Okay. So one of the really cringiest moments in the movie, because trust me, there's a lot.
So many.
There's so many. And they usually involve Dylan Baker, by the way. Most of them involve him. Most. Not all, but most. But he finds out that this little boy is staying home alone for the weekend, gets his address from like 411 or whatever, goes over to the kid's house. We don't know what he did. But
you can imagine.
Just imagine, he kind of leaves it up there. Oh, man. It's just...
Because we see him drugging his family and drugging the kids earlier. So it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
And then the wife is like, oh, I had a dream, and it was about you, me, and Johnny was in it, and the boy that they invited over. They invited him over because his dad was worried that the son was gay. So he thought it would be easy to, like, I guess, have sex with the kid who might be gay. And he sort of does. Like, the kid likes him or something. There's a really creepy, cringy. There's, like, a scene where he says...
so many levels of cringe.
He says there might have been a little something going on in the car. And, I mean, you don't really see it, but you sort of...
Oh, you see enough.
You see enough. And I didn't necessarily get that. I got that he was just on the lap, but if there's more in the car, I don't know. I'm hoping...
And then the next day, it's funny because he's, asking him, oh, what about your friend Johnny? And the kid's like, yeah, he's okay. He's kind of girlish. It's like, ba-doop. Oh, man.
I don't know. I didn't really laugh at that. I just felt
it was just more cringe, and it's just, oh my God, yeah. This movie would be, if you showed this in the theaters, there'd be fucking torches and pitchforks. They would be riots.
Well, I mean, we live in such a day right now where we're really trying to protect our kids from stuff like this, and everything. Like, we are doing everything we can to make sure. That stuff like this doesn't happen to our kids now.
Fortunately, it does.
Still does, sadly, and but there are things and people you can call and thank God the police got involved in this movie.
Oh yeah, I mean it happens over the span of a couple of days, so justice is swift, and he ends up going where he's supposed to end up going. So that's fine, but we have to pretty much experience all of that without actually seeing it. But just the discussion alone is hard.
And I want to go back to the sympathy thing. Like, I did not, once again, I want to make people aware. I was not sympathizing with him at all. I was cringing the whole time. Every time he was, saying, I'm sorry, I'm like, ugh. Like, why? Like, I mean, I'm sorry that you have this, whatever it is, affliction to kids.
The thing is, he's a psychiatrist. So he knows if he's got this problem that he should be fucking talking to this other guy or getting medication or getting some kind of assistance with this. That's the biggest, aside from the fact that he's diddling little kids, the fact that he is armed with the knowledge that he could do to help himself, but he's not doing it. You know?
No, instead he's acting out on his impulses.
Yes.
And whatnot.
And he says he can't help himself, which is true, but that's why you get help from someone.
We sort of mentioned it before, but really there was a scene where he was drugging everybody, and literally, so he brought like ice cream or something to the kids, and the kid was like, I don't want some ice cream, and the kid he wanted to drug, like he didn't care about.
Oh, he wanted to drug them all so they could all sleep, you know, and he didn't want anybody awake for what he was going to do.
Yeah. And then he was like...
The special tuna fish sandwich.
Yeah, he made a special tuna fish sandwich, which the kid said was great. He enjoyed eating it. And then next day he felt sick. And the next day after that, he was pooping blood. You know, his BMs were bloody. And I was like, oh, who says BMs as a kid? Ugh.
Oh, man. But then they have the cops there, and they have the wonderful, uncomfortable discussion about what might have happened. And the dad is not fucking helping, because the dad is a prick, and you know he's
also his dad's really pissed.
Yeah, but he's like, you know, oh, my kid might be gay. You think maybe I should get him a hooker so that she can teach him some space? Yeah. And he's like, he's 11, so maybe no.
I mean,
you know.
Well,
no.
Actually, it's funny because he. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'll wait till he's like 15," you know, maybe I'll help him. He goes, "No, he's a lost cause now."
My God! Yeah, he takes it the wrong way, and not, you know, it might be a little inappropriate for an 11-year-old to have regular heterosexual sex, much less anything else. I mean, come on.
You know,
it's full of cringe. There's just so much cringe and uncomfortableness. Yeah, this movie, when I saw it in the theater, I was squirming on my seat the whole time, and there are not very many movies.
Did people walk out?
No.
No walkouts?
No.
Were you the only
not
one?
when I was. Not
Were you the only
there.
one in the audience?
No. There was a lot of people. I mean, it's got a very, very high Internet Movie Database score for a reason.
I know.
It is an excellent film, but it is not an easy film. And it is not a comfortable film. This is not a movie.
This is not a date night film.
No. This is a let's expand your horizons in a way that you are not feeling comfortable exploring, and let's just do this because what the hell? This is human nature, and we're going to go into the deepest, darkest, worst corners that you want to avoid without actually showing it. Just goes to show you how effective a movie can be where you don't actually have to show violence or gore or nudity.
They did show violence. They showed them shooting the people. So
yeah, well,
that was
a little bit of violence.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying. It wasn't like Terrifier 2. Okay, it wasn't people getting their heads cut open and shit.
Well, right, and to that, I'm sort of like, I don't know, like I'm not into that. You know, like I'm not into people getting mutilated and cut up and everything.
Torture porn.
Torture porn. That's not my.
Yeah,
that is not my bag.
I have no
I
interest
watch it occasionally, but it's not my bag because I don't.
The subject matter is not my bag. However, every now and again, you might run into a movie that actually does it well, or actually can do it in an artistic way that's different than everything else. It's just that the majority of them is just the same shit over and over and over and over. Say, you know, that's what makes it difficult is when a movie takes a controversial or taboo subject matter and is actually effective. It puts you in a very awkward position of saying it's a great film, but I don't really want to see it again. You know,
you say you want to show it to other people.
Yeah,
that's
I like
a typical thing for you.
Yeah, I like expanding people's horizons. But stuff like, you know, Schindler's List. I watched Schindler's List in the theater when it came out. I thought it was a very, very good film, and I've always told people it was one movie that I thought was really good, but I never want to see it again.
Right.
And I haven't, and I probably never will.
Honestly, I don't think Schindler's List should be on everybody's like top 10 favorite films.
That was a rough movie too.
Because it's not a movie. Because when I view like a movie like that's like in my top 10 or something, it's movies I want to see over and over again and I enjoy, you know, watching or whatever. Ed Wood, you know, my favorite film of all time. That's what I always say is my favorite movie because I could just watch that movie anytime.
So seeing him in an Angora sweater didn't quite cringe you out?
No, because I'm sorry, what is it, Tennessee and Texas and everything, but cross-dressing is okay. Drag is okay.
It's really not a big deal.
Yeah. If parents want to bring their kids to see that, that's up to them. If the kids go see it on their own, that's
How about
a different
George
story.
Animal Steel's incredibly hairy body?
I'm just not going to do his toes.
Yeah. Oh.
You know. But anyway, my point is that this movie and Schindler's List and all that stuff, people can say this is a great movie. You know, this could be on AFI's top whatever list. You know, greatest movies list. You know, kind of thing.
I don't want to see it.
But it can be on that because Schindler's List is on that.
Yeah,
because it's a good movie.
I'm glad I saw it, but maybe it's a little different for me. I have a different kind of a background than most when it comes to this subject matter, just because when I was young and I was discovering monster movies and creature movies and everything for the first time as a kid, you know, there wasn't much that you could see on TV. It would still be scary. You know, Night of the Living Dead is the movie that got me into horror films, and I saw it late at night, and that had enough in there to scare the living shit out of me. However, it did not freak me out and frighten me the way that the PBS series World at War did, which was a documentary broken up into, I think, 24 different chapters that showed, you know, real footage from battles. So you were seeing stuff that the Allies and the Germans and everybody had actually filmed at the time, which was bad enough watching battle scenes and the aftermaths and all that. But then they did the one on the Holocaust. And when you're a little kid and you see footage of live human beings going into ovens and them reacting, let me tell you, that will fuck you up in a way.
Never going to watch that.
Yeah.
I don't need to see it.
And the thing is, that is stuck with me as the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my life to this day. So stuff like Schindler's List that even goes near it, sorry, can't do it. I watched it once, never want to see it again.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So people who have, like, you know, if you had any, God forbid, you had any kind of an issue when you were a kid with an adult, don't go near Happiness, because this will trigger the fuck out of you.
Because it might actually feel real, maybe?
Even if you don't see anything, trust me, the dialogue alone is all you need.
I know.
It's rough. It's rough. But I tell you, very, very few movies have the power and the strength to pull that off. And for that alone, salute to Todd Solondz. You know, great film.
Salute to your cringe, man. I don't know. Like, ugh. I don't know.
So you weren't even as cringed out by Pink Flamingos by this. You got some cringe in that one too.
Well, yeah, that had some cringe.
That was more graphic because of what you're seeing.
It was, and it was sparing, you know, like it was there, and then there was a lot of other stuff that happened that nothing to do with cringy stuff or whatever. Then there was cringe. Then there was some, you know, right? Like it was spaced out. This was like cringe, a couple little things, cringe, a couple little things, cringe. Like it was a lot more cringe.
Oh, it was a lot more cringe. You know, although there was no dog do eating scene. And
the dog
there
licked
was
something like so let's talk about real quick at the ending of the movie is they're talking about to happiness, and they're
three
happy.
Straight cringes, sort of like one on top of another.
Yeah, and so the little boy jerks off, finally comes for the first time,
looking at some like wrinkly old lady in a bikini. And
I don't think she was that wrinkly. I think he might have just.
It was an old person's.
I don't think she was that
home.
old. I don't think she was that old. But anyway,
it doesn't matter.
Anyway, so he's looking at that, and then he jerks off, and the splooges comes right on the railing,
which you see,
and you see it, and he's excited, he's happy, he came, whatever, right?
I'm a man finally.
His dog comes and licks it.
So that's cringe number 2.
You know, eats it, drinks it, whatever you want to call it. Goes over to the mom and kisses her face.
Yeah, because then the mom's
cringe
like, "Oh,
3.
it was a cute dog," and we're both like, "Ah."
So now when
3.
all my friends say, "I don't want a kiss by that dog. I don't know where that dog's mouth has been," I'm going to automatically think of this movie. So thank you, Todd Solondz, for making me cringe.
Yeah.
And
it was like boom, boom, boom. I mean, hold my beer 2 in a row.
I know. And the whole time the kid's talking about, you know, I almost came or whatever and all this shit. I'm like why am I watching this? Seriously.
You blame the kid. The kid's the one who's asking all these questions.
I know. I blame Todd Solondz for writing this for the kid to say. Ugh.
And he's like, and the poor kid's like, what did we do? It's like, I don't know. This is why parents don't want to deal with kids. Just shut up and ask your teacher.
Even then, that's probably not something you want to bring up. You don't want to ask your teacher about
today.
Masturbation.
Not today. No.
Even then, like back when I was in high school, or not high school, it was like elementary school or whatever, 11. You did not ask parents teachers these questions. You got it from like your friends, maybe your older friends that you knew, or from the neighborhood.
Who didn't know shit about shit.
And still, some of them didn't know shit about shit. But like, those are the things you did because you were too afraid to ask your parents, and you were too afraid to ask your teachers because you didn't want to ask them something that to you didn't understand what was going on.
Dude, I went 12 years of Catholic school. Not only could you not ask anybody anything, if they thought you were thinking about it, they would smack you. You couldn't even get within 3 inches of another person without them coming over and beating you.
It's Catholic school.
I know.
You could ask the priest. Oh,
yeah, they know a little too much.
Sorry, that was a little tasteless.
Yeah, wait in line. We'll get to you. We'll get you next.
Oh Lord, I don't know. So many cringe stuff and things. I don't know. This movie was just one of those movies that, like, the whole time I was just like, "Can I turn this off? Like, is that gonna? Can we just do it? Do the halfway?
But you
through?
pushed through it. Well done, sir. Well done.
I did watch the whole thing.
There you go.
And I didn't fall asleep.
Oh yeah, not in this movie.
No, no. I was tired, but that's because we watched another movie earlier, and it was night, so it's getting night. So I was like starting to get a little sleepy, but it would nothing. And wait, unless you drugged me.
And it's like I said, Todd Solondz did Welcome to the Dollhouse, which I already loved, Happiness, which I freaking love, and then I know he did a few other films. They just did not have the kind of impact that those other two movies did, and I'm wondering if there was some level of blowback from Hollywood because of Happiness. I don't know. I'd love to interview him and see what he had to say. Or maybe he shot his wad with Happiness and he just kind of got it all out of him. I don't know about his other films, if they're quite as subversive as this.
Shot his wad, really? You're going to use that as the...
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. That actually might make sense. However, he did do stuff like he did a movie, I think it was called like Palindromes, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. And he did a couple other movies. But they were not like this.
He did a sequel in 2009 where he had completely different actors coming in and playing the exact same roles, which is interesting. I haven't seen it. I'm dying to see it because
I bet it's a lot tamer.
Possibly,
because you haven't heard of it, and because it's not like this movie pushed the boundaries of stuff. I guarantee you.
This movie not only pushed the boundaries, it erased it with the sneaker and pissed on it.
And the dog licked it up.
And the dog licked it up. Yeah.
Pretty much. Ugh, I don't know. It was not what I was. I knew of this movie, because when I worked at the video store I used to work at, this movie would get rented a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was. It was very rented a lot. And people were telling me you should see it. I was like, I don't really have any interest. And I didn't.
It out-cringed Gummo.
Gummo. Yeah, I think it out-cringes Gummo. I think Gummo's something I could probably watch again,
Gummo's
like for like
cringy.
the F Friday or something. But not, once again, a movie I don't need to like own or well, maybe I'd own it, because it's a...
It's really well done movie.
But because it's a sort of a classic.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Chloe Sevigny, whom I love.
Chloe's gorgeous.
Ugh. And a magnificent
Are you going to do the
actress.
Brown Bunny someday?
It's
too long, man.
It's so boring. That's the problem.
Most of the time, that movie is just like driving, right?
Yeah,
like the dude driving. You'd have to watch it, and then you could fast forward it, like through the driving things, because literally nothing happens.
Yeah, I know. And that's problematic. Any movie I have to fast forward through, no, that's not for me.
Yeah, but then you get to parts that you know,
not
that's
worth it.
Yeah,
It's not worth it. I mean, there's lots and lots of cringe in here, but there's a lot of entertainment value in here too. I mean, when you subtract the cringe stuff, there was a lot of very funny, amusing stuff going on.
For a 2-hour, 19-minute movie, it doesn't really feel that way. You know, we got to the hour mark, and I was like, how are they going to wrap this movie up like in a half hour or like even an hour? And I mean, it sort of didn't, you know, it needed the 2 hours and I think 14 and then plus credits, you know, and stuff. So it was, you know, I don't know. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad glad that you picked it, because I wouldn't have picked it.
And you can appreciate it for its merits. However, as an entertainment venue, you might not want to have to experience it too much.
Yeah, I don't know.
Someday it might come out in Blu-ray.
Do you guys understand, like, the movies that I pick as opposed to the movies he picks as film freaks?
Yeah.
Like, look at this movie, and then look at what I picked earlier, RoboCop. Happiness.
It's a fun movie.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
Happiness.
I slightly different tastes. I mean,
Legend of Hell House, I will give you, it was amazing.
I can still appreciate RoboCop. It's just that every now and again, I like things like to change up things a bit. You know, my fishing net is spread far and wide.
It's sort of. I mean, I compared it before to Road to Wellville, and you said that one girl was in both.
Cameron Mayheim.
Yeah, which sort of makes sense. That she would do sort of quirky roles. She kind of also reminded me of the chick from Greasy Strangler, the woman there.
Greasy Strangler was right up there with this kind of a film.
Yeah, and if that weren't a What the F Friday, you could have picked that for film freaks.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It was fantastic. If you haven't seen Greasy Strangler, go watch that movie. It's so funny. And I'm not saying that because we reviewed it. I mean,
it's a great film.
I had never seen it before, and I absolutely loved it. And I now own it. So, you know, because I loved it.
And we met the Greasy Strangler himself.
We did.
It was great.
He was very nice. I liked him. We interviewed him too.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was that. See, that sort of is that. See, that's the style of cringe I can watch.
Yeah, that's your level, right? About
yeah, about that. Like that's my like. I love this kind of movie level. Happiness? No, not so much. I mean, it's not.
But this is why Kate wants you to see some of these extreme horror films too, to sort of push you a little bit into other realms,
out of my comfort zone.
Out of your comfort zone.
And the thing is, though, I like my comfort zone. I don't get it. I don't know why people want to push me out of my comfort zone.
I know.
Isn't it the point of a comfort zone to like figure out what is the comfort zone?
Well, yes, but sometimes you miss things that could actually be in your comfort zone or might expand your comfort zone. You just have to give it a little try, you know?
I don't think Cannibal Holocaust is going to be pushed to my, you know...
No, Cannibal Holocaust, probably not. But, you know, what is it? 100 Days of Salo might.
Well, that's also, isn't that a Criterion?
Yeah.
Yeah, so... I like, it's a movie that what?
Nothing.
What was that?
Nothing. Oh, there's some cringe in that film too. Trust me.
I've heard. You know, I mean, it's called Sodom, so I mean, you can imagine some of the things that'll happen. Once again, this movie did not have anything other than the shootings, the park shooting scene. Nothing really was ever shown.
I didn't have you see a Lucifer Valentine movie where there's tons and tons of puking all over the place. I mean,
puking doesn't bother me weirdly enough. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, puking doesn't bother me. I think it's because I puke all the time, so I'm just used to it.
Really?
Yeah, not like I not like I make myself puke or anything,
Lord.
but like I puked, you know, a good amount, so it just doesn't bother me.
You puke a good amount.
I used to drink. That's what happens when you drink. You puked.
I see. Gotcha.
Now I don't have to puke as much. Unless I'm sick from something, you know, or whatever. But
see, everybody has their thing. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, so puking never bothered me. Now it did used to bother me when I was a kid. Didn't like The Exorcist because I had the puke scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like I liked The Exorcist, but I didn't like the puking scene. And then for the first time when I was drunk and hungover, whatever, getting over my hangover, I projectile vomited for the first time.
Eek.
And I was like, that's a real thing? I thought that was only in the movies. Because when I first did that, I was young. I was like, oh shit, that can happen?
And I noticed
wonderful.
Jackie mentioned Two Girls, One Cup, and you knew what that was.
I knew of it. I'd never actually seen it.
Oh, come
I've
on.
never seen it. Never seen it. I won't watch it. It's just the same thing as I won't check out the Blue Waffle. Nope. If you guys want to do that, go ahead.
Or Goatsy. Don't look for anything called Goatsy.
Oh, good God. That just sounds terrible already. I don't know. No, thank you. So there you go. So I know where my comfort is, okay? It's not saying Two Girls, One Cup. Knowing that does not sound like any fun to me, you know. Human Centipede, I watched 5 minutes of it, or not 5 minutes, probably a half hour or whatever. But when it started getting into that thing, I was like, you know, this is just not what I want to watch,
It's
you know?
not Indiana Jones or Star Wars or Marvel.
Or anything good.
Although
It's
Marvel,
not Goodfellas. It's not
Marvel would
Taxi
be
Driver.
a little more interesting and fun if they did have a human centipede made out of the characters. That would be fun.
No. They'd probably poke fun at Human Centipede at some point or something, but they wouldn't actually show anything.
Yeah, and there's
because
three of
James
them.
Gunn was one of the writers, dude.
There's at least 3 of those centipede movies at this point.
Well, James Gunn did like Romeo and Juliet and bunch of like fucked up movies.
Oh yeah.
You know, so he's, you know, he's not afraid to do that.
We love our fucked up movies. Some of us maybe don't go quite as fucked up as
Once again, so is this a movie you'd show Jen?
No. I don't think Jen would appreciate it.
No, I don't know though. Like,
I think Joe would. I think Joe Lynn would. I think she.
We gotta specify this because we have
not
two
Joe
Joes.
Torek. No.
Yeah, Joe Turk would not like this movie.
He would walk out in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
he would have the most extreme reaction of all of us.
Yeah, because he just feel very uncomfortable.
No,
he was uncomfortable with the janitor?
Yeah, no. Jen would just look at me sourly and say, "Paul, really?" and then just punch me in the arm, and then take the cookies away, which is the worst part.
Well, I don't know. See, here's the thing, though. The one thing that you mentioned earlier that is the best thing about this movie is it does make you think in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever. It makes you think how fucked up people can be and shit and how fucked up this, you know, the way people think that do these horrible, horrific things are. But it doesn't, you know, it doesn't show a lot of shit. It doesn't make you go... And when it does show you stuff like the violence at the park, it doesn't feel real.
Right.
And it's a dream.
Right.
So it's maybe not supposed to make you feel real. But it feels like a movie, you know, and
right.
stuff at that particular scene.
Well,
so
and there are types of people who want movies as more of an escape. They don't want to think. They don't want to do more than that. They just want good, clean fun. This is not that movie. You don't want to go for this for good, clean fun. This is more of a movie that you're going to think about, even if you don't want to.
I'm glad Jack Black didn't get the part. I mean, I love him. Like, don't get me wrong, I love him. I just think he would have sort of... I don't think he would have done a great job.
No, I don't think... He's not Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He's not the same kind of character. He would have done it completely different, and I don't know if I could have, like... I could have liked that.
And yeah, and talk about a grotesque character. Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is horrific and disgusting and grotesque, but there's some level of sympathy for him too.
He was the only one I really sympathized with the most.
Well, I'm always going to sympathize for Jane. Poor Jane Addams.
Oh yeah,
character.
No, I didn't sympathize with her because first of all,
she does some dumb stuff.
She does a lot of dumb. She invites that guy over. Well, he kind of invites himself over, you know, kind of basically forcing her to get in that cab and then going to New Jersey and then stuff like she should have known or whatever. And then he made out with her in the cab or whatever. So I don't know.
Well, once again, she's another one who's following the fantasy and thinking that the fantasy is going to actually be good when it turns out, yeah, no.
What is that fantasy though? Like that some Russian guy is gonna
he's like
sweep her off his feet or
exotic.
something?
He's plays guitar and sings the song, and it's that sort of touchy feely shit that she likes, and and he's got the mustache, and
the creepy mustache.
And this fantasy that she's going to meet the guy, and maybe this is the guy. Well, it turns out now he's not the guy. He's a thief and a jerk.
He says he's a thief.
I know.
I don't sympathize with her at all.
Glosses
She's
right
dumb.
over.
Like, you're a thief. Well, get the fuck out of my house so you don't steal anything. Or, hey, you're leaving me after having sex. I'm going to follow you, make sure you don't fucking steal anything. Like my guitar and my CD player.
She's too sweet. She's too sweet. That's her problem.
By the way, speaking of Jack Black, her and him were in Orange County together.
Yeah, that's true.
So they had a great scene, and Ben Stiller was in that episode.
I love Jane Addams. She is just such a sweet little snuggle bunny, and she's really, really good.
Yeah.
And every character I've ever seen, she was on an HBO show called Hung. I don't know if you saw that.
I've heard of it.
Really, really, really good with that. I think Thomas Jane was in there too. It was a really good. It was a really good show.
I didn't watch it, but
I think it only went like 2 seasons or maybe 3, but it was excellent, and would love to have seen them do more together.
I'd love to see Jane Addams and more stuff. So
Laura Flynn Boyle was great as usual. Patricia Richardson was really good. Everybody was good. Everybody really, really well done.
So if you get a chance to watch it, like check it out. But
good luck finding it, because I don't know if you can even get it anymore.
It might be even like, I bet on eBay it costs a lot of money.
Probably.
I bet it's out of print.
I hope there's a Blu-ray version. If there's a Blu-ray version, I'm buying it.
Was it Shout Factory? Get on
there you
that.
Go.
Criterion. You think this could be a Criterion
Well, isn't
film?
Welcome to the Dollhouse on there?
I don't think so, actually.
No? I thought it was.
Might be, but I don't think so.
I'll have to look it up.
I have to look that up, too. I don't think it is, but...
We're going to cover that one, too, at some point.
Yeah.
Wiener Girl.
Yeah. We need somebody who's really into this stuff. So, and maybe Kate. Kate would like that. Yeah. She would enjoy that movie.
If she hasn't seen it already.
Well, even if she has seen it, she probably would enjoy it. Anyway, I respect the movie. I'll never watch it again. Like, I respect what it does.
I hear you.
I like everything, but like, I'm not like you, man. Even if I can show it to people because then I have to watch it again, and I just would feel so cringy the whole time, especially with somebody who I'm like, I'm gonna get them to cringe, because then it's just weird. I don't know. It's a weird vibe. Not my kind of thing. Won't watch it again, but I also said that about Pink Flamingos, I think, and I bought it. But I bought that because the extras and all that other shit are like way fascinating about the making of that movie. So maybe the making of this movie would be interesting. I don't know if the DVD had any stuff on it.
I think it has some, but it doesn't have that massive gape that's in Pink Flamingos.
Yeah.
Where it looks like a huge onion ring.
I don't know. All right. Anyway, we're about wrapped up, but thank you, Paul, for picking this movie.
He says, he's like, I don't want to see it again.
Join me next month where my movie will be a lot tamer.
I'll take it easy on him next time.
Oh, I hope so. But my movie will be a lot tamer. I always take it easy on Paul. I'm nice to Paul, and then Paul's like, here's something new for you to watch.
I was sharing happiness with you. Come on.
God. We're going that. I did ask if it had a happy ending, and it did.
Of a sight.
It literally did. Ugh. I did not want to see that happy ending. All right.
I tell you, you should feel thankful. There are very few people I can comfortably show this film to, and you're one of them.
Yeah. Good luck with Jen, or something like that. No. I will watch it, and I will. I don't think there's been a time. Nope. There's only been one time I told you to shut up movie off. That was a Doris Wishman
one
movie.
Yeah.
And that was just
but
that was because
there were extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, and it was boring.
It was only the first 10 minutes.
It was pretty boring. 10 minutes.
We'll get back to Doris at some point. Trust me.
All right. Well, thank you. Turn Actium Maximus off. So
thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time on Film Freaks, movies that we love.
All right. Later.
Bye. Apparently, Jack Black was considered in a role as well.
For Philip Seymour Hoffman's?
For the role of Alan.
I don't know which one that is.
That's the Philip Seymour Hoffman guy.
Yeah. Okay. I've already started recording.
Oh. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was trying to see if I could read anything, but I can't. Not with my glasses. I came.